Anybody heard about North Dakota lately? What's going on in North Dakota lately? There's protests and there's a blizzard that went through last week. And one person commented, it's fine having a protest, but inside the teepee when you have a propane-fired furnace, it's kind of a mixed message. You're protesting oil and you have a propane-powered. You can't have it both ways, buddy. If you want to really go to the prairie, you better be burning buffalo chips in that teepee this time of year. There's no trees out there. There's no tree. There's no wood to cut. I was thinking about that. A friend of mine, he's the bishop of Western North Dakota. We serve parishes in Stanley. I had the town church. He had a 3-point parish. He had a 7 mile, 7 mile, 7 mile, and a 3-point. It was 7 miles each way, north, south, east, and west of Stanley. There was nothing north except Kenmare. You've heard of Kenmare? That was north of Stanley. Kenmare had its own area. So they took care of that. He had Bethel, Knife River, and Ross. Or Palamo, Knife River, and Ross. We worked together, and then when I moved from Stanley to Bethel, the parish was open, and he had a 3-point. Stanley was open, and they said, "Here, we'll make it a 4-point. You bear pastor," and then so they did, and they had 2 people that do that, and they each take 2 services, and they rotate around. That was hard on the church that I served, because for many, many years they had their own guy, and they had to share, and they didn't like it. So, but anyway, while he was at Stanley, he got nominated to be bishop, and he's bishop, and he's got a 2nd term. And I called him up the other day just to greet him for Thanksgiving, and he called me back, and I said, "How's it going out there in North Dakota? How's it? So are you out protesting?" He's like, "Oh, don't get me started." Because Western North Dakota is all oil and gas now. That's his parishioners. They all work in the gas oil. It's coal. And he said, everybody from the rest of the country is saying how bad they are. And I'm saying, these are good people. I know them. I've been in their churches. They're very generous. But that's not why I'm telling you this. It got me to think about this. But right now, what's covering the prairie? Snow. What's covering our lawn? Snow. And our roofs, and our parking lots, and our sewer system. And your sewer system at home, so it's a good thing. You need the insulation, right? I learned something about patience that James is talking about when I became a pastor in Western North Dakota. Partly it was at this time of year, nobody does anything. Most people out there, there's a few guys with cattle, but by now, they're sold. The steers are gone. They have a few cows that are inside. In March and April, they're going to be calving, maybe late February. But from now and then, it's not so bad. Majority of the farmers were small grain farmers. They had their harvest done by September. By Labor Day, they were pretty much done with their spring wheat. So what did they do from Labor Day till Mother's Day, or till probably the end of it, probably what's St. Patrick's Day? A lot of them did. What about those that didn't? What did they do all day long? Well, they read, went to the little move, went to the cafe. We ran to town and had coffee at the implement dealer. And so we would do that every morning. I'd meet them at 8 o'clock. They'd have a pot of coffee. There's about 7 or 8 of us. And they'd all talk about the most important thing in western North Dakota, precipitation. How much snow did you get? They didn't measure it in inches out there. They measured it in tenths of an inch. They didn't measure rain in inches. Now, in Minnesota, we say what? Oh, I got about a half an inch, quarter an inch. You know what they said in North Dakota? I got 10 hundredths. They said in hundredths of inches. I said, who talks like that? I learned after about 2 years, because how rare it did rain, that every tenth or every hundredth of an inch, 10 hundredths is what? 10. 10 hundredths? What are you guys talking about? Well, that's how they did every little drop. And they taught me about patience. And when I looked out this morning, I saw this snow covered everything. And that's how my first winter was out there. Everything was covered. The following winter, it was open. We could see the ground, and by my birthday in March, it was 70 degrees. And then next year we got hammered again, but it was totally snow all over. The farmer waits. Sometimes that's all they do. In the meantime, they fix machinery. They maybe bought a new truck or a new piece of machine, traded something, fixed it up, repaired it after harvest. But they had to wait. They couldn't do anything. It's frozen over. Some planted winter wheat. And I've told this story in Bible study before, but I learned about patience about people after farmers told me what winter wheat does. Winter wheat's planted in the fall. It needs to be frozen for it to work. So when a farmer hurt his leg in butchering a cow, he had his a tractor sitting up with the front end loader with a steer upside down, on a bucket. So the cow's like this upside down. He's going to butcher it, pull the skin off, and he's cutting with his knife, and there's bleeding, and he's on the mud, and he takes his big butcher knife and he went down like this and slipped, and he went right in the femoral artery. He had about 15 minutes before he would have died, and his neighbor drove him to Williston, 25 miles away, got him there on time. Blood all over his car. Saved his life. He was not going to be doing any farming for a while. But the neighbors said, we'll put the seed in for you. He says, yeah, the bins are over there, full of seed. Well, one guy says, okay, I'll help you out. Which bin was it? It was one of these over here. Well, that guy put in some winter wheat instead of spring wheat. So they planted the winter wheat in the spring wheat's place. The problem is it comes out just fine, and it stays this high until it gets frozen. And when you plant it in the spring, it's not going to happen. And they're like, how come it's not growing? And the guy went, what letter bin did you take it out of? Was it A, B, or C? And the guy went, I think it was the third one on the end. Oh yeah, okay, that explains it. Put the wrong seed in. I don't know if it was all winter wheat or spring or winter wheat, but a lot of us crop that year was wrong. It was a wrong season. But he told me that story. He said, well, it's got to freeze. And when it freezes, it looks dead. Just like if you look at the dead grass around the side of or the plants or out there in the garden, those don't look alive to me. And by looking at the picture, it looks like they're dead, but they're not. It's dormant. There's a difference between being dead and dormant. And James is saying this here. Farmer waits with patience. Be patient, you too, for the coming of the Lord. You think the Lord's not going to come? Don't count on it. The coming of the Lord is near. You must be patient. The trouble with James is people were saying, you know what, the Lord, you've been talking about the second coming of the Lord. He hasn't come yet. And it hit all the congregations in the first century. They were all waiting. And they were all told that he's going to come. Some in Matthew's gospel were saying, get to the point where in his community that, well, you said he's going to come. He hasn't come yet. He never will. So we're just going to turn away from this. Forget it. It's all a bunch of talk. So James is running into the same issue in his group of believers. It's different. What does it mean to live by patience? What does it mean to wait with patience? What does it mean to look outside and saying there's nothing growing now. It's all white. It's dead. It's cold. It's snowy. Maybe what it looks like isn't the way it is. Maybe there's some things that are just, when it warms up, it'll be fine. Yeah, but it doesn't look like he's doing anything now. Well, just be patient. It is hard to be patient, I admit. I want it now. You know what's taken over UPS down in Minneapolis? I call it the Borg. Is Sally here? Is she back there? She knows what I'm talking about. Amazon Prime. Every box has a little blue sticker, a stripe on it. And half the planes now are blue stickered boxes. The Borg are attacking.
The what are attacking?
The Borg.
Oh dear.
It's in the form of Amazon Prime. And why are they so popular? Because you can take out your smartphone in this church right now and say, get me a new pair of boots or slippers. And push send, and it'll be on the way today, and tomorrow you'll get it. If you go UPS, you'll get it next day here. Because people are in a hurry. They're not patient. I don't want those slippers. I want them yesterday. And as it's happening, we live in a world that continues to say you can have it immediately. And we'll pay free shipping if you give us whatever Amazon Prime charges.
$99 a year.
How much?
$99 a year.
There you have it. Straight from the witness right there. So when James says, be patient like the farmers, well, number one, how many of us know what farmers are doing now? I mean, some of us knew what that was like, but I talked to my kid. They have no clue. None of my kids grew up on a farm or any connection to it other than they've been on one, but it's tough. And now with instant internet, and now you don't even have to wait for your TV show to come out next week. You can stream it. All the episodes are, you can watch them all at night, same night. So what's going on? It's a different message. It's hard to hear it when he's saying be patient. Wait patiently. The farmer waits for their precious crop. Yeah, but they have to because they're farmers. Well, guess what? We do too. It's okay for us to wait. What looks like nothing's going on, it's not true. What looks like God's taking too long, taking slow, maybe it's exactly right. Like Paul says in Romans, you know what? Don't be so sure about what God's doing with the Jews right now. You've been grafted in. The Christians have been grafted into the olive tree, right? But guess what? God's taking his time to give us more time. God's being patient with us. So let's not get in such a hurry for him to hurry up. Because maybe we need more time than we think. Be patient. Strengthen your hearts for the coming of the Lord. He is near. Again, what looks as like nothing's going on can betray the truth of the matter. That winter wheat needs to be dormant. That winter wheat needs to be frozen. And then it grows and produces fruit, produces in abundance. Not too many use it anymore. They get a little more cash crop for hard red spring wheat. But other people do it. They use it for, they bale it. And they feed it to their cattle. So what seems to be dead is life-giving, nourishing. What are deer going to be starting to eat now around here? Brush. Doesn't sound very appetizing, does it, Kurt? Brush. It's called browse. Twigs. What? There's not even a bud in there. It's just bark. That's what they're going to be eating from now until whenever the snow melts. But on those twigs, on that brush, what looks dead and dry and gone, it's life-giving. And it still is for us. From the root of the tree of Jesse, a brush, a root, has come for us. The one coming Jesus. Thanks be to God. Let us sing another song. Our closing hymn here.